I want to thank you for your dedication to the path of mastery. I know that you're on this path. You haven't arrived anywhere. You continue to learn, you continue to grow. And you've mentioned the natural laws of the universe many times. And I'm wondering if you can just dive into that for the students to really explore what you mean when you say the natural laws.
Yes, it's happening all around us. I grew up in a small town, and so I had time to look out, as other people have mentioned, into nature and explore nature, and you get to see the cycles of nature. You get to see what's happening, and then you start to see, like I mentioned, through the telescope or the microscope, looking down inside the body, we're looking out into nature, these laws that are happening constantly. Like right now in Georgia, in near Atlanta. Right now, the trees have these little buds, and they're starting. So we're going into springtime, and that bud is starting to become a little bigger, a little bigger. It takes time. It doesn't happen overnight, but it's happening little by little. And then all of a sudden, I'm going to see the trees have these beautiful leaves. And in the fall, I see these trees, almost like the bronchial tree in the body, similarities, huh? And in the fall time, these leaves will be shedding, just like the mucus layer of the lungs will be shedding and preparing for new. We're now preparing for the new season, which is springtime here. And if we look at that, it's like, well, what is governing that? Like, I'm not telling the tree what to do. It's right outside my window. And I'm not like constantly texting and emailing the tree and saying, hey, you know what? Go a little bigger today. Take that seed, take that pollen, and grow. It's happening automatically. What's happening there? I'm observing natural laws right there and right then. The lunar cycle, we start to see the moon. Now, there was an eclipse a couple of years ago, and I went to the Georgia coast. And when the eclipse was happening, I got in the water. And I got in the water because my daughter was like, yeah, Daddy, let's go play in the water. But what I noticed was there was a different shifting of the tides. There was a different feel with that eclipse. Very interesting. Can't deny it because I experienced it and I'm witnessing it. What is it that makes a human being, when two people come together and you have one cell, mom and dad, and you have the union of cells, then it becomes 2 cells, 4 cells, 6 cells, 8 cells, 8 quadrillion cells. What is it that continues to make all the cells work together as a team? So these natural laws are happening all around us. There's the push and pull of the tide. The sun is pushing, the moon is pulling, and we get to see these if we'll stop and push pause sometimes, because isn't life super busy? But if we'll pause and we'll breathe, and this is a funny one to say sometimes, when you see the stop sign, stop and do what the fine print says, and breathe and take it in. And so when I witness what's happening in nature, and it's happening all around us, and I now see birds coming back from Florida. So we're neighbors with Florida. So we see all these birds coming back, and they're landing on my front area, and they're getting food and nourishment. They're heading a little bit more north. What is it that's telling them to do that? I didn't text them. They didn't get the cell phone tower, right? They didn't get my text message. What is happening? So if we're honest and if we're observing, we can see that. But sometimes driving in our metal coffins, if you will, on the freeway, the life can almost like be asleep at the wheel until we hit the guardrail, or just a moment that captures your heart, being in nature, or a loved one, or a birth, or a death, or music, or nature. All these ways are ways that start to open the heart, tug at the heartstring, and really witness these natural laws. Now, for me with the healing, I understood that conceptually, but then I was applying it and saying, okay, if my body's for me, as my friend Matt here in Atlanta says, maybe we can be for it. Maybe I can get in sync with these natural laws. It's already happening on autopilot, on cruise control, on something outside of my control. And so it's fun but it's not only fun, it's essential, because for me, my body grew and developed. And they said in the medical arena that I had less than 1% chance of ever getting a heart that was working. They wanted to put me on the heart transplant list. They wanted to give me a pacemaker. Something inside said no. Not recklessly, but following the flow of natural laws was not just conception anymore. It was living it out and doing it. So I have experienced healing that's happening. There are many other people in our profession and around the world that you can see that have also experienced that healing when we're in sync with these natural laws. And it's exciting. Sometimes it's not even a conversation in regular life. So that's what's exciting in life, and Life University West and Life University East. As the name suggests, there's something bigger. It could have been called back pain, could have been called Dr. Sid, it could have been called, Oakland Chiropractic. Why life? Because there's something bigger. Something bigger runs the show, which means there's intelligence, there's universal laws that are happening. And if we'll get quiet, if we'll actually spend some time in nature, we can witness that. Now, it's very conceptual or in your head if all you do is read in textbooks. And so nature is one way. For some people, my friend in California, he loves surfing. He took me surfing. That's another way to experience life and the marine life. And even in this time of the pandemic and COVID and all that, the animal life has come back. Like they found in Italy, the streams and the rivers are now bustling with the sea life. And if you look in the national parks, you'll see the animals are kind of peeking out. Like who's the virus? Maybe who are the humans? Maybe have overcome certain avenues of life instead of sharing and enjoying natural laws. So spending time in nature, these natural laws,
Some
and
of the
even
ones,
just hearing
some of the
myself,
ones,
my
not to
story.
interrupt.
You,
Sorry,
Ben.
not to interrupt you, but some of the laws that come to mind for me is like the law of polarity, which you've mentioned, the law of cellular replacement of supply and demand. If you could just maybe touch on those, just because I'm really enjoying, obviously, gravitational law. I'm really enjoying hearing you reflect on some of them.